doesn't work. And then within the buildings we create habitats as well. Green walls, green, vertical green areas, green sky clouds, and so forth. But connectedness is very important, so we should try to connect the greenery both at the ground plane and with the vertical. So in nature, everything's connected. What human beings do is that we chop up nature, we fragment it. And so with these ideas, I started to design experimental buildings. This is the Eden Tower that we designed in Singapore. It's not built, but it started to look at connectivity, how vegetation could be linked within the building. These are the plans of the building. The idea was to have a ramp, a vegetated ramp that goes all the way around to the top of the building, and in between would be the usable spaces. We designed this as a cultural building with museums, with exhibition areas, with cafes and restaurants. And this is the model that we built. The idea was to have sky courts within the building, and that as the ramp reaches the level of the adjoining building, we bridge across to the roofs of the adjoining buildings and we green it. So this was the idea of how to green the city. But it's just an idea, it was not implemented. In PJ, we designed a data center. Here we had green walls that climb up the facade, goes around the sides of the building to the back and down again. Now, when we design, we look at a site. We ask, what sort of site is it? Is it a pristine site? Is it partially disturbed, significantly disturbed? Has the land been totally cleared? Is the site urbanized? If it's a pristine site, like a provisional forest, we should leave it untouched. If it's partially disturbed, we should repair and regenerate. If it's significantly disturbed, we have sometimes we have secondary vegetation, we should regenerate. But if the land is totally cleared, we have to rehabilitate and revegetate. And if with the urbanized site, like in a city, we should create habitats within the site. So with the idea of a ramp building with ramp vegetation was an idea that intrigued us. So the idea was to have a ramp that climbs one floor with every facade, and in this way reach the top. So this was our conceptual drawing that shows the ramp and the vegetation on one side that goes all the way up to the top of the building. Now this walkway is important because many of my colleagues who do vegetation buildings, you cannot get access to the vegetation. You have to go through the user spaces, and that irritates people no end, and it's very inconvenient. So what we've done is that we put the vegetation as a ramp, and next to it is a walkway that you can service it. And so here it is completed. You can see the walkway, people servicing the building. This is user space on the inside. But so this walkway, if you stretch it out, it's 1.3 kilometers long. So we call it the linear park. But it is monotonous, And what we did was to create sky courts at the corners. And so that the corner would open up into sky courts. And the plants do more than just, are not decorative, but plants absorb pollutants from the air, and they try to remediate the pollutants in the air. And so this was one of our early green projects. This is built in the Novena district in Singapore about 10, 15 years ago. Then I have a series of mid-level gardens. This is the mid-level. And then this is a roof garden. And between the mid-level and the roof, there's a series of other gardens as well. About 4 other gardens, and it's connected to the ground, but to the adjoining plots. These are the sky plots. And this is where you can go out to get fresh air, you can look out, you can have a meal there, have a cigarette if they have food. And so these are sky plots at the corner of the building. And then we bring the vegetation on the right-hand side all the way down to the basement. And this is where it goes down to what we call eco-cell. And all the way down to the basement where we have a living machine or a biosphere to bring the water back into the ground. But the building is actually 2 blocks linked by an atrium. Above the atrium is a glass roof, and a normal day, if it rains, the glass is closed. It's automated so that when it's not raining, it opens up. So you can see on the right-hand side, the windows open up, and this is looking up with the glass roof. And on the right-hand side, in the red box, is the atrium. The atrium is not a fully air-conditioned space, and just a cold air blown into it. This is a simulation of the daylight entering the floor. Not a very good design because the floor is too deep. In Germany, no desks are a lot more than 7 meters away from the glass. So in Germany, most buildings are very slim buildings, about 40 meters from glass to glass. Here I have more than 40 meters, which is not ideal. I should redesign it in another way. But there are some experiments here. You can see the white square is a slot that cuts all the way down to the bottom. I call it the diagonal light shaft. And you can see the diagonal light shaft on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side is the view looking down the shaft to the street level. This brings daylight into the inner parts of the floor plate. And then from the floor and the lower floor looking up, this is what it looks like. Looking up into the floor plate. The 2 blocks actually, there are actually 2 blocks, A and B. With the atrium in between, they're linked by bridges. And this is the bridge that links the 2. The Singapore equivalent of the Green Building Index is called the Green Mark. And the Green Mark criteria is that you've got to have the green ratio of 6. Means the greenery in the building should be 6 times the area of the floor, the footprint of the building. And here we got 12.2, so what it means is that rating systems are just guidelines which you should try and exceed as much as you can. So now, biodiversity. And if you try in the design was to try and see if we can enhance the biodiversity of the site. So this project is in Putrajaya, and the land has been totally cleared.